Duke scratched at the saloon door. He'd found something. Something the 12 suspects didn't want him to find. But the real thief was clever. Very clever. And what Duke didn't know yet was that this case would lead somewhere no one expected. The vault door hung open like a broken jaw. Marshal Ben stood in the doorway, his breath catching in his throat. The safe inside was empty. Completely empty. $3,000 in gold coins. Gone. Vanished into the desert air. His hand tightened on his gun belt as anger burned through his chest. Someone in Silver Creek had just made the biggest mistake of their life. They'd stolen from the wrong town, the wrong bank, and they'd be caught by the wrong dog. Duke sat beside him, perfectly still. The German shepherd's dark eyes swept the small vault room with intense focus. His black and tan coat gleamed in the morning light. His nose twitched constantly. Already working, already hunting, already piecing together what human eyes couldn't see. Ben had seen that look in Duke's eyes before. The dog was about to solve another case. He always did. Never failed. Never quit. The morning sun slanted through the vault's small barred window. Dust particles danced lazily in the golden light. Everything looked perfectly normal, peaceful even, except for that empty safe, staring back at him like a dead eye. Bank manager Henry stumbled into the vault behind them. His face was chalk white, completely drained of color. His hands shook violently as he gripped a door frame for support. "Marshal, I don't understand any of this. The lock wasn't forced, not damaged at all. Someone used a key." His voice rose with pure panic, nearly cracking. "Only 12 people have vault keys. Just 12. I know every single one of them." Sweat dripped down his pale temples despite the cool morning temperature. His color was soaked through already. Ben turned to study him carefully. Years of experience reading people. Henry was absolutely terrified. Eyes wide, breathing fast. But was it genuine fear or hidden guilt? Hard to tell with bankers. They always panicked when money vanished. Their reputation depended on security. Duke moved forward slowly and deliberately. His nose dropped to the cold stone floor. He began a systematic search of the entire space, left to right, wall to wall, corner to corner. Every inch mattered to him. Every molecule of scent told part of the story. He stopped suddenly at a boot print near the safe. Deep impression in the dust. Fresh, recent. He sniffed long and deep. His ears went forward, rigid, alert. Something important there.
"Whose print is that, Henry?" Ben asked sharply, his voice cut through the tension. Henry leaned closer to look at the mark, squinted at the dusty impression, adjusted his spectacles nervously. "Could be anyone's, Marshal. Honestly, we all walk through here multiple times, daily transactions, counting coins, checking balances, recording deposits." His explanation came too fast, words tumbling over each other, too rehearsed, like he'd practiced this speech. Ben made a mental note of that behavior. Suspicious. Duke circled the entire vault again, slower this time, more deliberate, more thorough. He paused at the broken safe mechanism, sniffed the twisted metal carefully, the bent hinges, the damaged lock cylinder. Then he moved methodically to the doorframe. His nose worked up and down the wood, reading the air itself, reading time, reading history. Whoever did this left traces everywhere, completely invisible to human senses, clear as painted signs to Duke's remarkable nose. Outside the bank, a crowd had already gathered. Word spread fast in small towns. Always did, especially bad news. People pressed against the bank's tall windows, trying to see inside, trying to understand what happened, trying to catch a glimpse of the empty vault. Ben stepped out into the bright morning sunlight. Duke followed at perfect heel position. never more than 6 inches from Ben's left leg. The crowd parted quickly, respectfully. Everyone in Silver Creek knew the marshal's dog, knew his reputation, knew what he could do, knew the stories. Ben scanned the faces before him with practiced eyes, looking for tells, for nervousness, for guilt. 12 people with keys meant 12 suspects. He needed to see them all, together. "Henry, get everyone with vault access here immediately, right now." The manager nodded frantically, rushed off down the dusty street at a near run. His boots kicked up small clouds. Within minutes, people started arriving from different directions. Each face told a different story: fear, confusion, anger, guilt.
Emma came first, young bank teller, maybe 20 years old, barely more than a girl. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. Tears still streaked her face. She clutched her wool shawl tight around her shoulders. "Marshal, I would never steal, never. I need this job. My family depends on—" Her voice broke completely, dissolved into sobs. Ben held up his hand gently. "Just wait here, Emma. We'll talk soon." Sarah arrived next, the older teller, 40-something years old, stone-faced and eerily calm. She stood apart from Emma deliberately, didn't speak a single word, just watched everything with cold eyes. Young Thomas appeared nervously. The bank clerk, barely 18, still had boyish features. Nervous energy radiated from him like heat. He couldn't stand still, shifted weight constantly, hands fidgeting. Deputy Frank walked up wearing his badge. Even he had a vault key. Everyone was suspect now. Friendship meant nothing. Trust meant nothing. The mayor arrived in his pressed black suit. The town doctor followed, old man with a long gray beard. The saloon owner, the general storekeeper, the blacksmith with coal-stained hands, the telegraph operator, the schoolteacher in her modest dress, and Jake, rough prospector, with permanent dirt under his broken nails.
12 suspects stood in a loose circle on the wooden sidewalk, all silent now, watching Duke. The dog walked among them slowly and deliberately, his nose working constantly, never stopping, testing each person individually, reading their unique scent, their fear levels, their sweat composition, their guilt. He stopped at Jake first. The prospector immediately stepped back, hands raised defensively. "Easy now, dog. I ain't done nothing wrong." Duke stared straight up at him, long and hard, unblinking. Jake's weather-beaten face reddened under the scrutiny. "Get your mud away from me, Marshal. This ain't right." Ben watched the interaction carefully. Every detail mattered. Duke sat down directly in front of Jake, studied him for 10 long seconds, reading him completely, then stood casually, walked away. Not him. The dog knew with certainty Jake wasn't their thief. Emma was next in line. She started crying even harder. "Please, please, I need this job desperately. My family needs the money. My mother is sick. We can barely—" Duke sniffed her trembling hands thoroughly, her worn dress, her tear-stained face, then moved on without hesitation. Not her either. Too obvious, too scared.
"Everyone to the saloon immediately," Ben ordered firmly. His voice cut through the nervous murmurs. "We're doing this properly, thoroughly." He needed them together in one place, needed to watch their interactions carefully, see who avoided who looked at who sat near who. Body language revealed truth. The group moved down Main Street in silence, a strange parade. 12 suspects and 2 lawmen. Duke walked ahead confidently, leading them all. At the Silver Creek Saloon, Ben arranged wooden chairs in a wide semicircle. He positioned himself in the center of the room. Duke sat beside him like a judge. The saloon smelled of old whiskey and stale cigar smoke. Fear added a new scent now. Sharp, acidic, unmistakable. "One of you is a thief," Ben stated clearly and coldly. His eyes moved from face to face, holding each gaze. "And you will make a mistake eventually. They always do. Always."
"I want detailed statements from every single person," Ben continued. His voice was iron. "Where you were last night, sunset to sunrise, every single detail matters." Frank pulled out his worn leather notebook, licked his pencil tip, ready to write. The mayor spoke first, voice confident, practiced. "I was home with my wife and children. Had dinner together, then retired early. She'll confirm every word." Solid alibi, multiple witnesses. The saloon owner went next. "Working behind the bar until past midnight. 20 witnesses minimum saw me there." Also solid, very solid. Thomas stammered badly through his story. I was visiting my mother across town on the east side. She's very sick, bedridden." He paused, swallowed hard. "No one else was there. No other witnesses. Weak alibi. Very weak." Sarah spoke in flat monotone, no emotion. "Home, alone, reading a book by candlelight." Incredibly weak. Dr. Webb was unnaturally calm, too calm for this situation. "I was treating a patient at my office. Can't say who exactly. Doctor-patient confidentiality, you understand?" Convenient excuse. Impossible to verify. Jake claimed he was alone at his mining claim. No proof whatsoever.
Ben studied his notes carefully. 8 people had solid alibis, multiple witnesses, verified locations. 4 had weak stories: Thomas, Sarah, Dr. Webb, Jake. 4 people who couldn't prove innocence. Duke sat perfectly still beside Ben's chair, watching them all intently. His eyes moved slowly from person to person, reading, calculating, processing information. Then he stood abruptly, walked straight to the saloon door, scratched once with his paw, insistent. Ben opened it immediately. Duke trotted outside purposefully. Ben followed close behind. So did all 12 suspects. They had no choice. Ben had made that clear. Duke had picked up something, a scent, a trail. But the thief was clever, very clever. And what Duke didn't know yet was that the real hunt had just begun. Duke moved down Main Street at a steady trot, his nose swept side to side like a pendulum, reading the morning air. Ben followed close. The 12 suspects trailed behind in a nervous cluster, boots echoing on wooden planks. Duke turned suddenly into the alley between the general store and the barber shop. Narrow space, shadowed, cool. His nose dropped to the dirt. Found something. A trail invisible to everyone else. He followed it deeper into the alley, past empty crates, past a broken wagon wheel. He stopped at the back wall, sniffed hard, long, then sat down. The signal. "What is it, boy?" Ben asked. He examined the wall carefully. Nothing obvious, just old wood, but Duke kept staring at one specific spot. Ben pressed the boards. One moved slightly, loose. He pulled it aside. Empty space behind, big enough to hide something, but nothing there now.
"Someone used this," Ben said, turned to face the suspects. They'd all followed, all watching. "Recently. Who knew about this hiding spot?" Faces showed confusion, except one. The doctor's eyes flickered, just for a second. Recognition, then back to calm. Then caught it. So did Duke. The dog's attention shifted completely to Dr. Webb, focused, intense. The old doctor noticed, shifted his weight uncomfortably. "I've lived here 40 years, Marshal. I know every alley, every hiding spot, every loose board. Doesn't mean anything." His voice was steady, too steady, practiced. Duke stood, walked directly to the doctor, sat in front of him, stared up, unblinking. Webb forced a laugh. "Your dog seems to like me today." But his hands trembled slightly, gave him away.
Ben made a decision. "Frank, take the others back to town. Keep them available. Don't let anyone leave Silver Creek." His deputy nodded, started herding the group away. "Dr. Webb stays with me." The old man's face tightened. "Marshal, I have patients to see. People depend on—" "They can wait. This can't." Ben's tone left no room for argument. Duke remained sitting, eyes locked on Webb. The doctor wiped sweat from his forehead, despite the cool morning. They walked toward his office, a small building near the church, white paint peeling, sign creaking in the breeze. Duke led the way, confident, certain he'd found something, someone, and he wouldn't let go now.
At the doctor's office, Ben knocked firmly. No answer. He tried the door. Unlocked. They entered. The smell hit immediately. Carbolic acid, medicine, old blood. Examination table in the center. Shelves lined with brown bottles. Medical instruments on a tray. Everything looked normal, professional. But Duke moved through the room like he owned it, nose working every surface, every corner, every shadow. He stopped at a large cabinet against the wall, scratched at it, once, twice. "What's in there?" Ben asked. Webb hesitated. "Medical supplies. Nothing interesting. Bandages, gauze, splints." Duke scratched harder, more insistent, his tail rigid. The signal was clear. "Open it," Ben ordered, not a request. Dr. Webb's hands shook as he pulled keys from his pocket, dropped them once, picked them up, finally unlocked the cabinet. Doors swung open. Shelves of medical supplies, exactly as described. Bandages, bottles. Nothing suspicious. But Duke pushed past Ben aggressively, nose working the bottom shelf. Behind a box of gauze, he pawed at something. Ben knelt down, moved the box aside. A small cloth bag sat there, hidden. He picked it up carefully. Heavy, metallic clink inside. He opened it slowly. Gold coins glinted in the dim light. His heart pounded. "Doc, you want to explain this?" Webb's face went completely white, drained of all color. Those aren't... I can explain everything." His voice cracked, broke. Ben stood, hand on his gun. "You're under arrest."
"Wait, please." Webb's hand shot up. "My daughter, she's dying back east, needs an operation, expensive. I've sent her every penny for 2 years. It's still not enough." Tears filled his old eyes. "I was desperate. God help me, I was desperate." Ben felt something twist in his chest. Sympathy, understanding, but law was law. "How many times have you stolen?" The doctor's shoulders slumped, defeated, broken. 3 times, small amounts, different places, over months. The bank was the biggest. I thought—" He trailed off, thought he'd get away with it. Duke wasn't finished. He moved to another part of the cabinet, pawed at a lower shelf at the back corner. Ben looked closer, saw a loose board in the cabinet floor. He pried it up carefully. More gold underneath. Much more. Bags of it. Ben pulled out the hidden bags one by one, counted them. 5 bags total. He opened each. Different coins, different dates, different mints. "This is more than the bank robbery, Doc." Webb nodded slowly, couldn't meet his eyes.
I've been stealing for 2 years, anywhere I could. Small amounts, nobody would notice immediately. His voice was barely a whisper. Until you got greedy, Ben said. Until the bank. The old doctor sat down heavily on his examination table, put his head in his hands. I just wanted to save my little girl. She's only 12 years old. 12! But Duke was still working, still searching. He moved to Webb's desk now, sniffed around it, under it, behind it, then sat down, stared at a drawer, the bottom one.
Open that drawer, Ben commanded. Webb didn't move, didn't respond, just sat there, broken. Ben opened it himself. Inside were letters, dozens of them, from back east. He pulled one out, read quickly. His blood went cold. The letters weren't from a daughter. They were from a woman, not his daughter, his mistress, demanding money, threatening to expose their affair to his wife, to the town. Ben looked up slowly. You don't have a sick daughter, do you? Webb's silence was answer enough. You've been sending money to keep a woman quiet, to hide your sins, and you stole from your neighbors, your patients, people who trusted you. The magnitude of the betrayal hit hard. This wasn't desperate love. This was cowardice, selfishness, pure theft dressed as nobility.
Ben stared at the letters in his hand, his jaw clenched tight. The truth was worse than he'd imagined. Dr. Webb hadn't stolen to save a dying child. He'd stolen to hide his shame, to keep a mistress quiet, to protect his reputation. The old doctor sat on the examination table like a deflated balloon, all the dignity stripped away, all the respect earned over 40 years gone. How long? Ben asked quietly. His voice was ice. Webb didn't answer, couldn't answer. Duke sat perfectly still. His job was done. He'd found the thief, found the evidence, found the truth buried under layers of lies. Ben's hand rested on his gun. Not threatening, just habit. Just steadiness in a moment of disgust.
Marshal, please. Webb's voice cracked completely. My wife, she can't know about this. It would destroy her. Ben's eyes hardened. You should have thought about that before stealing, before lying, before betraying everyone who trusted you. He moved toward the door. Frank? His deputy appeared within seconds. Must have been waiting outside. Cuffs, now. Frank's eyes went wide when he saw the gold bags on the floor, the open letters on the desk. He pulled out handcuffs quickly. Webb stood slowly, aged 20 years in 20 minutes. His hands trembled as Frank locked the cuffs. The metal clicked shut, final, permanent, the sound of a life ending. They walked Webb through town in broad daylight. No hiding, no mercy. People stopped what they were doing, stared in disbelief. Dr. Webb, their trusted physician, the man who'd delivered half the babies in Silver Creek, who'd set broken bones and treated fevers? A thief? Impossible. But the handcuffs told the truth. The shame on his face confirmed it. Duke walked beside Ben with his head high, proud. He'd solved another case, protected another town. Women whispered behind their hands. Men shook their heads slowly. Children pointed until their mothers pulled their arms down. The whole town was watching their hero fall. At the jail, Ben locked Webb in the single cell. The iron door clanged shut, echoed in the small building. Webb sat on the hard cot, head down, broken.
Ben counted the recovered gold at his desk. 5 bags total, $4,700, far more than just the bank robbery. He matched coins to his records. The bank's $3,000 was there. The rest came from other places. The church collection, town emergency fund.
even from patients who'd paid in gold for medical treatment. Webb had been stealing from everyone for 2 years. Small amounts, careful amounts, nothing anyone would notice immediately, until greed made him bold, made him stupid. Duke lay by the stove, relaxed now. The hunt was over. Ben reached down, scratched behind the dog's ears. "You never doubted, did you, boy?" Duke's tail thumped once against the floor. He'd known from the beginning. The doctor was too calm, too controlled. Guilty people who think they're smart act exactly that way.
Word spread through Silver Creek like wildfire through dry grass. By afternoon, everyone knew. Dr. Webb was the thief. Had been stealing for years. The town gathered outside the jail. Angry voices rose. "Hang him!" someone shouted. "He treated my daughter," another yelled. "Took my money." The crowd grew larger, angrier. Ben stepped outside, hand on his gun, Duke beside him. The crowd quieted slightly. "There will be no hanging," Ben said firmly. His voice carried authority. "There will be a trial, legal, proper. That's how justice works." A man in the front pushed forward. "He doesn't deserve justice. He deserves a rope." Duke growled low, a warning. The man stopped, stepped back. Everyone knew better than to challenge the marshal's dog. Judge Harrison arrived 3 days later on the afternoon stage, a gray-haired man with stern features. He'd heard the basic facts already. Set the trial for the next morning. The courtroom was packed, standing room only, every seat filled. People lined the walls. Webb was brought in wearing chains. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. His wife sat in the front row. Her face was stone. She'd learned everything. The affair, the lies, the theft. Her world had collapsed. The judge banged his gavel. "Order! This court is now in session." Ben testified first, laid out the evidence clearly. The empty vault, the 12 suspects, Duke's investigation, the hidden gold, the letters, everything. Webb's lawyer tried to object, to defend, but there was no defense. The evidence was overwhelming.
Dr. Webb took the stand. His voice was barely audible. "I'm guilty of everything, all of it." He didn't make excuses, didn't blame anyone else. "I was weak, foolish. I betrayed everyone who trusted me." Tears ran down his weathered face. "I have no defense, no justification. I deserve whatever punishment comes." The judge listened carefully. His face was grave, unmoved by the tears. "Dr. Webb, you had a position of trust in this community. People depended on you, believed in you, and you stole from them systematically for 2 years. He paused. Let the words sink in. You didn't steal to survive. You stole to hide your sins, to maintain a lie. The gavel came down hard. The sound cracked like thunder. I sentence you to 8 years in territorial prison, hard labor.
They reached Silver Creek 3 days later. Word had spread about the mine rescue, Duke's heroism. 12 men alive because of one dog. That night, Ben sat on his porch with Duke beside him. "You know what, boy?" Ben said quietly. 12 men breathing tonight because of you. That's what matters." A week later, a package arrived from Copper Ridge. Inside was a photograph of Duke's bronze statue. The inscription read, "Duke, hero of Copper Ridge, saved 12 lives, never gave up." Duke sniffed the photograph, unimpressed. He didn't care about fame, just cared about doing his job.